Welcome to part 4 of the Black Day Journal channel intro lecture series. My name is Khalifa Abdul Khalik. I'm an African American elementary teacher who's been living and teaching here in the Far East for over 20 years. I have lived and taught in Japan, Korea, China, Taiwan, and Cambodia. I've also had the good fortune of visiting Singapore, Guam, and Thailand. In this lecture series, I'm just going to give you guys a broad overview of some of my incredible and revealing experiences that I have had as a black man living in the Far East. Before I get into this topic, though, I need to point out to you guys the link at the bottom. This is the link to my website, Black J Journal. This website goes more in depth and give you way more details about the history of blacks in ancient and modern Asia. So please click the link below. Okay. Oh, now I want to just tell you guys a lot about our history that you may not know because this information is not put in the history books. Okay, now I'm going to change the subject and go into another topic for you guys. And again, this is another heavy one that knocked the wind out of me, one that I did not see coming. And I'm quite sure many of you won't see this coming either. Okay, let's look back now in the New York Harbor. We have what? The Statue of Liberty. What a lot of people are not aware of because they don't teach this in the American schools. You can be a black American 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. And many of you have never heard this before because they don't educate you about this. Not in the public schools in America. The Statue of Liberty was a statue that symbolized, what we are told that the Statue of Liberty symbolized, freedom, invitation to other countries to bring your immigrants, refugees to the American soil where they can make a life for themselves and make a home for themselves, being open to the rest of the world, being open to refugees, being open to immigrants who wants to come to America, work hard, and achieve their American dream. That's what the Statue of Liberty is supposed to represent. That's what we are told, right? What a lot of you may not know is that the fact that the Statue of Liberty represented and still represents the end of slavery, of black servitude in America. That's what that statue represents. The conquest of slavery. The conquest of oppression of black people in America. Black people overcoming that situation. That statue was given to us by the French. When they carved that statue, it was carved from a model of a black woman. The inspiration for that statue was given of a black woman, from a black woman, who was dressed similar to how the statue is now clothed, how the statue is now dressed. It was used to symbolize the end of slavery in America. If you look at the foot of the Statue of Liberty, you will see it has, a lot of people don't know this, you will see it has chains, shackles on her foot, shackles on her foot, chains around her foot. Just like the black slaves in America wore chains around their neck, chains around their hands, chains around their feet. If you look at the Statue of Liberty, they still have it there. You can see the chains around her feet. That she was a slave, that she's breaking from slavery, that she represented liberty, freedom, from oppression, from slavery, some servitude. That statue was given to America as a gift from the French. The French constructed that statue and gave it to us to sit in our harbor to represent blacks' liberation from slavery. Look it up. Go Google photos of the foot of the Statue of Liberty, and you will see she has chains around her feet, symbolizing that she was once a slave and that she's breaking through from all of that. That's what that statue represents. Of course, you're not told that. That's why you have to educate yourself. Just look it up yourself. Google that. And you will see photos of that woman, like the way I just described to you. I'm saying all of this because it's not just in Asia, but in America too. There's a lot about our history that we were not told. Look at what I just told you about that, about the Statue of Liberty. Look at what I just told you about how Chinese use the slang word a banana for a person who acts white. Look it up yourself. You have to take my word for it. You just search it yourself. Make a liar out of me. I dare you. Go check it out yourself. It's out there. It's there. Okay. And it's talking about Asia. I just need to point out to you some things here. Now we're going to change this topic again, just a little bit. But I need to point out to you, I chose to discuss and center around Asia because Asia provides a lot of parallels to us as black people. I'm discussing these parallels because it would give us a clear understanding of us as a group, as a people. It would crystallize us as a group of a people, give us a better understanding, a solid foundation, of a solid knowledge foundation of us as a group, as a people in general. Now, let's look back now on a map of one time in Korea, in Japan, okay? There was once a period when once Japan became a strong military power, okay, what the Japanese did is they went around and started colonizing different countries in the Far East. One country they colonized was Korea. They took control and conquered Korea. When they came to Korea, they killed the emperor of Korea and controlled that country. They colonized China. They colonized the Philippines. They colonized Guam. They was a very empire building, colonizing country. It was based on conquest, a military conquest of her neighboring countries. When the Japanese went to Korea, if you look at a map of Japan and Korea, you see there's a body of water. There's a slim body of water that separates Japan and Korea. Originally, that water was called the Sea of Korea. It was originally named the Sea of Korea. But once the Japanese became a military power and colonized Korea, they changed the name of that water from the Sea of Korea to the Sea of Japan. Yeah. They named not only countries, they did not colonize and control countries, they also controlled and named geographic locations. They felt they had a right to, because those locations, those countries were now under their sovereignty, under their control. So they felt they have a right to name it. So they changed the name of the Korean Sea to the Sea of Japan. Now, in modern day, a lot of schools in Korea, they don't recognize the Japanese claim over that water. Okay? They teach their kids in a lot of the schools in Korea, they teach their children that body of water is called the Sea of Korea and not the Sea of Japan. They don't recognize Japan's sovereignty over that water. And it's not just that. They didn't also just change geographic location, change names of seas and oceans, that sort of thing. When the Japanese initially came to Korea, they also forced all the Koreans to take Japanese names. Just similar to when the Europeans enslaved the blacks and brought them to America, they gave them all European names, English names. Okay, they wasn't allowed to keep their African names. They wasn't allowed to keep their African identity. They wasn't allowed to practice their African culture and traditions. They had to give all that up. They were forced to give all of that up. Similarly, it was the same thing with the Japanese. Once they colonized Korea, all the Koreans had to take Japanese names. Not only that, all the Koreans had to speak Japanese. They were not allowed to speak Korean. They were forbidden to speak Korean. Similar to, in slavery, they took the Africans, they enslaved them, they oppressed them, they abused them, they forced them to take English names, they forced them to speak English, not their own native languages, No, they wasn't allowed to do that. And the Japanese did the same thing to the Koreans. Like I said, the Korean in many of the public schools in Korea, they don't recognize the Japanese sovereignty, the Japanese control, authority over that body of water. They do not call that water the Sea of Japan. Many of the public schools in Korea, they refer to that body of water as the Sea of Korea, not the Sea of Japan. I'm pointing that out to you because the same thing, the exact same thing, happened with Africans concerning a body of water. If you look at a map at the Atlantic Ocean, I want to point out to you guys that the name of that water, Atlantic Ocean, it was not always called the Atlantic Ocean. There was a period in history when that water was actually called the Ethiopian Ocean. Let me repeat that. There was once a time in history when the Atlantic Ocean was referred to as the Ethiopian Ocean. Look it up. Google Ethiopian Ocean, okay? All y'all out there, all of you, Google the name Ethiopian Ocean. And when you click the image part, look at all of those maps referring to that ocean as the Ethiopian Ocean. All these early maps that you were never told about, that you were never exposed to, that was never revealed to you, yet it labels that ocean the Ethiopian Ocean. Caucasians, Europeans, white people changed the name of that ocean from the Ethiopian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. They did similarly to what the Japanese did with the Korean Sea. They changed the name of the Korean Sea to the Sea of Japan. White people changed the name of the Ethiopian Ocean to the Atlantic Ocean. This is why I'm showing you guys these parallels to make it crystal clear in your mind about this history, about what's going on. Yeah, I know a lot of you never heard that before. How long have you been in the public schools in America? How long you been there? How long you been living there? And yet this is the first time you ever heard that. And you live in America. You right? But, that's dangerous information. You're not supposed to know that. You free his mind and he's going to be a threat. See, that's why it wasn't put to you. Because if you free his mind or her mind, then she's going to be a problem. Like I said, Asia presents a lot of parallels. Many, many, many parallels. Where that just underlines the thing that highlights us as a people. It wasn't just us. No, it wasn't just us. We wasn't the only people who were forced to take other people's names, forced to speak other people's languages, forced to have them take over our territory. The Japanese did it. And white people, then Caucasians, Europeans, they did not just do that to you. They did it to many, trust me, they did it to many, many others.